What our beyond critical race theory?
Yes, sir.
Let's get it.
Yes. So yeah, we have the beyond critical race theory. What we are not taught in the schools that we should be. Everything that they're trying to ban across states, Florida, Georgia, Mississippi, they're trying to ban this and keep it out of schools. So since they want to keep it out of schools, we always on Truth Be Told Us podcast, we always bring it here, bringing you the facts, beyond critical race facts that are not taught in the school. So we know we normally don't have one on the throw around Wednesdays, but like the word say, be ready at all times. And my big brother Sheriff was like, "Man, I know you got a good one tonight." And I said, "You know what? I do." So, and it's fitting that we
Right.
talk about this um, because they just celebrated their Memorial Day, um, the holiday Memorial Day, and I seen this, and it came across my timeline and email, and I was like, "Wow, that's crazy!" That on the day they celebrate the Memorial Day, that this is happening. But I want to preface this now. The article comes from the History of Injustice. We always talk about that. I've been getting those uh, on this day series for the Beyond Critical Race series. On this day. So we're going to talk about the War Department on May 29th, 1930, approximately 93 years ago to the date. The War Department forces black veterans' families to travel separately to visit loved ones' graves. Before we get into that, let's go to now. There's a number of scriptures that come to mind, but there's one that sticks out, and that's Deuteronomy 28:50. Right? Deuteronomy 28:50 says, "A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young." All right. So think about that as we read this. So let's go. On this day, May 29th, 1930, War Department forces black veterans' families to travel separately to the visit loved ones' graves. It says on May 29th, 1930, the U.S. Department of War, which had invited the families of veterans killed during World War I to visit their graves in Europe, denied a petition by black mothers and spouses to travel on the same ship as white families and instead forced them to travel on segregated boats. Won't show favor to the young or the old, as Deuteronomy says, 28 says. Won't even let our soldiers that died for this country, that don't love them, wouldn't even let the mothers go see their graves on the same ship. All right, let's get into it. It says, with the support of the NAACP, a group of 55 black mothers and widows known as Gold Star Women from 21 different states petitioned President Hoover at the time, asking him to allow all of the grieving women to travel together. Remember, these are mothers, wives that are grieving. Their loved ones are not coming home from this war. The same war that they said, if y'all help us fight and win, we got you.
Right.
Those same
Right.
mothers and wives. It said when the call to arms came from our government in 1917, they wrote, mothers, sisters, and wives, regardless of race, color, or creed, were asked to give their loved ones to the end that the world might be saved for democracy. This call we answered freely and willingly. In the years which have passed since death took our loved ones, our anguish and sorrow have been assuaged by the realization that our loved ones who rest in the soil of France gave their lives to the end that the world might be a better place in which to live for all men of all races and colors. Now that's what the NAACP at that time wrote to the President Hoover and the War Department. It says 12 years after the armistice, the high principles of 1918 seem to have been forgotten. We who are colored are insulted by the implication that we are not fit persons to travel with other bereaved ones. Instead of making up parties of Gold Star mothers on the basis of geographical location, we are set aside in a separate group, Jim Crow, separated and insulted. The petition was referred from President Hoover to the War Department, which ultimately declined the black family's request on May 29, 1930. Though black veterans bravely fought for democracy and freedom during World War I, many returned home to find their own freedom denied. It was not uncommon for family members of veterans to be mistreated and subjugated to racism and abuse, as was the case here. Rather than being honored for their service, black veterans and their families were often the targets of horrible discrimination, mistreatment, and even murder at the hands of white Americans determined to reinforce white supremacy and to prevent the veterans from fighting for racial equality at home. And it says to learn more about the culture, targeted physical violence, and social humiliation that Black veterans and their families were subject to, read EGI's report, Lynching in America, Targeting Black Veterans. So there you go, folks. Something they were not teaching the schools. May 29th,
Hmm.
1930, our mothers, our wives were denied to even go look and visit the graves of the fallen sons and husbands. What you guys think